talking at the start.
Brilliant.
Welcome back to another episode of Going for a Take. This time we're joined with Joel Mcveagh.
Hello, Joel. How's it going?
It's going well, thanks. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
Fantastic. We're excited to have you. Now, you're an award-nominated actor and motion capture artist who's worked on some huge projects, including, but not limited to, Netflix's A Christmas Prince, Space Force, and also Warner Brothers' Hogwarts Legacy.
I am so gassed to talk to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Insanely. I'm
That's
geeking
insane,
out.
man.
He's so cool. You were the main mocap artist,
So
weren't you?
it's like a giant cog. Like there was over, I think, 10 hours of cinematic footage they filmed for the entire game, and I'm like 4 hours of it, kind of thing, because there's so many people. Like it was spread across the world, the kind of production of it. So I took up the part in like the Vancouver studio for it. Yeah. So when you play the game, whether you make like a male or a female body or anything, it's me doing like the movement and everything.
That's so weird.
It's
so
very
many people
strange.
have seen you move around on their screens.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to remember. So like within the game, you play the main sort of avatar for it. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
But is the other production studios across the world, were they doing all the other sort of like the teachers or whatever?
No. So that was all. I think they basically did it so that it was spread around. So like our studio would get specific scenes that we would be in charge of ours, and then we would run the entire scene in our, like, what it's called a volume. So I would be interacting with all the characters in front of me, all the other performance capture artists that were there with me, and I would just be interacting with them in this studio. And then if they need something else, they might outsource that to another studio for another part of it. It's just insane stuff. Such a huge, like it was over. I mean, the game, when did that come out? 2 years ago, I think. But I worked on it for probably 2 straight years. Yeah.
And it was performance capture, right, rather than motion capture.
Yeah. So it's performance capture. It was kind of to do with the timing of it. It was because it was at the start of COVID. So the voice actors had already been cast, but because of like restrictions in different countries at the times, they outsourced a lot of it to where I was living at the time, Vancouver. They did full performance capture for us, and then they essentially ADR'd over our performance.
So what is the difference? Just because I don't think I fully know.
So motion capture, like as a thing, is basically without your face, I would say. Like if you were being a human, just pure motion capture, they would capture all the essential points of your body so that they can get what they need for the basic movement. And then performance capture would be adding your face,
putting a load of dots on your face.
Yeah,
and
and then
like
you get the bike helmet with the GoPro. Yeah.
Okay. So you're doing like just the motion capture part of it. Now I'm just thinking about the video games.
Yeah.
How much specific movements do they need to capture? Like, say, obviously there's walk and then sprint and then just sort of. What's the one? Because you've done some motion capture stuff as well.
Yeah.
What's the one where it's just sort of like breathing?
It's like an
being
idle
stood still?
stand. It's an idle stand.
like neutral stand.
Yeah.
It depends a lot. I didn't end up doing a lot of that. A lot of my stuff was pure cinematic stuff. So, when you're playing the game and then it goes to a cutscene, that was mainly what I did. Yeah. So I didn't do a lot of the walk cycle, sprinting, any of that stuff that you would be doing. I'm a lot of the cinematic stuff instead.
What was the audition process like for it? Had you done any motion capture or performance capture before?
That was my first. I didn't know what it was when I was auditioning for it. It was called Phoenix at the time, and they had me do a tape for various different characters, and they were completely random. Like I had to do, I could choose basically. I think they were basically trying to see what you could do. Like how many different characters you could play, because there's people that I mainly did the avatar. I did a few other characters as well, but there were people there who I worked with who I admire so much, who you'll never see, they do so much of the work that goes into it, and you'll have no idea that someone is behind that kind of thing. But they would be playing like 10, 12 different characters, like some human, some trolls, dragons. Cool. It's insane. But the audition process was basically, they sent out a bunch of different scripts. There was like one from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where you could read either Charlie or the grandpa, and then there was a Harry Potter one. But because there were so many random ones, it just seemed like, you just want to see a type of character.
Did it detail that it was performance capture in the...
Yeah, they
project
said it's
type?
performance capture
Okay.
video game, and it was my first experience, so I was very stressed because I was like, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
Because they don't want to see, you know, the standard like frame of a
Mid-shot,
self-tape. They generally want to see more movement than that. So when you're in a tiny one-bedroom apartment, it's very difficult.
It's
Yeah.
so
To
hard
do
to
that.
film as well. I mean,
Yeah.
we filmed one a while back, and we literally went into like the car park and we're just trying to get the shot.
Yeah.
I had him on the camera trying to like zoom out as I'm running towards it. It's really hard
Yeah.
to film, and in a 1-bedroom apartment, that's
Yeah.
how did you do that?
It was pretty poor. I'm not gonna lie. I was surprised that I got I got a call back for it, and then it was like a live Zoom thing, and I just moved to Vancouver at this time. Like I was maybe 2 months in, so I didn't really have a solid space yet. So my tiny bedroom, the amount of space I had was probably like the length of this sofa, just the length
God.
to
Wow.
play with. So I had to push them back as far as I could and like turn it on its side, like kind of throwing all the rules out of what like a self-tape should
Yeah,
be,
those are
you
always
know?
the best ones, though, aren't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, break some rules.
You're like, I'm just gonna have fun
I was
with
just
this.
like,
Yeah.
I was just here doing the thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah.
So sick.
One-
So-
I was just going to say one of the interesting things with performance capture is it can't obviously get your hair. So you've got your
Yeah.
face and you see yourself, but you've got a completely different hairstyle.
Yeah.
And that's so like, I don't know, watching actors and then seeing their like the footage of it and seeing them with a different hairstyle is weird. But for you, like seeing that footage with a different hairstyle, how is that for you looking at yourself?
It was always really strange. I don't think I'll ever get over watching yourself on the playback on the TV.
Yeah.
You're just in the volume and then you can just see your body and you'll always just like start dancing around because it just feels natural
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't know, sometimes you, like I was playing like zombies and stuff. I don't think they were called zombies in the game, but like different types of characters. And then the computer would like link your body to, what's on the screen, like what's going to be the render of it, and it's just like this is insane that like this is me up there right now.
Were there any challenges that came about? Like, so Ben's done some. You did what was it called? Gareth Taylor.
Yeah,
What's his name?
mocap vaults.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And I remember him talking about when he played. So he did the OG Harry Potter games with like
No
Chamber
way.
of Secrets. And
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
And he said he played like a bunch of different people. He also did all the body double, like not body doubles, performance capture for Until Dawn.
No way.
So like the one Rami Malek's in it.
Is
So
he?
they superimpose the performance capture. I'm getting them mixed up now. The performance capture of Rami Malek on top of Gareth's motion capture stuff. But he said when he was doing Dobby, he played it as if he was a small guy.
Yeah.
And then they looked at it and they were like, oh, actually no, that doesn't work because Dobby's small. He will be trying to act big.
Yeah.
Were there any specific moments like that when you looked at it and went, oh, I look like there's something that was going on in my knee, some sort of tension that is being read on the camera now, and I need to look at that.
I mean, there's a lot of that, especially in that game when there is like goblins, and so many of my scenes were with goblins. Like, there's just a lot of things that you have to think about that is not clearly visible to you. Like it just requires so much more imagination than I thought I would ever have to use in anything, because you're just in a completely blank room. There's nothing there. And they're like, here's a dragon and it's a tennis ball on a stick that you have to follow around and be like, and it's now breathing fire. And you're like, oh, okay.
And you're like, wait, what's it doing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But when you're
So
like,
cool.
when you're in a scene with someone that's like a different height in the game, you just have to understand where they are in reference to the other actor. So a lot of the times when they were playing goblins, I would have to stare at their knee to like talk to them, because that's
A
what,
little like face down there.
no, literally, because it makes less effort for them after in the edit, because you've already got the eye line sorted for them. But it's very weird because you obviously naturally want to talk to someone's face.
Yeah.
So you see all that you can see all of it happening out the corner of your eye, but it needs to be here. Like you're acting down here to this person's knee, and it's just very strange.
That's so interesting.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea about any of this. I've only ever had experience like on physical TV sets.
Yeah.
Which is
It's a different ball game.
yeah,
It's crazy.
It is. Now, you could probably hear, this is to everybody watching and listening now, you could probably hear your accent. It's a little bit weird.
I'm so sorry.
It's eclectic.
I have quite a big imposter syndrome over my accent because basically I grew up just outside of Leeds and lived here for my first 20 years. And then I did a few summers abroad in the US where I worked at some summer camps over there. And then I kind of mastered the American accent over there, came back, and then I eventually ended up moving to Vancouver for acting stuff because it's such a fun city to be in and it's a big film hub over there.
Yeah.
But when you live in a new city that is a completely different accent and dialect to you, no one ever, I think, prepares you for like, you will lose your natural voice. And it's very strange because you just end up assimilating and it's not something that you intend on doing.
No, like I've had a similar thing moving up to Manchester. I'm not from Manchester originally.
Yeah.
I'm from a little bit further south.
Yeah.
But my mum's been texting me, having a go at me for how I sound on this podcast because I'm dropping my T's a lot and I'm talking a bit more like I do as if I'm from Manchester.
Definitely.
But no, I was going to ask, do you think like moving to Canada and the US and everything has actually helped your career, or do you think you'd be in the same sort of position?
It's hard to tell.
Here?
It's hard to tell because I moved there off the back of the Christmas Prince films because it just seemed like a really good time for me. There were people in that production that were like, yeah, this is a great city, Vancouver, where like they film a lot. There was a friend on that film who also lived there for 2 years.
Okay.
Because as Brits, you can get a 2-year visa there for like basically for nothing. So I was like, yeah, I'll take a step because I always kind of wanted to end up in LA. And it seemed like a really good stepping stone to get there. But when I moved there, COVID happened a month in, everything shut down. So it was a very difficult time to try and break into a new market. So it's hard to know whether here or there would have done more for me.
Okay.
I think, it's just part of the ride, isn't it?
And the reason behind LA was that, chatting to people because you went to Yorkshire School of Acting, was it?
Yes,
Which Zach went to as well.
Yes,
Zach Sutcliffe.
Zach went to there, yeah.
Did they tell you, and I don't know, you got some inspiration from them to be like, LA might be the place you want to end up?
Not really. I think because I grew up watching like Disney, I just grew up watching Disney and I was just like, this is where I want to be. I love the Disney shows. I used to write episodes of like The Sweet Life because I thought, I was like, yeah, this is where I want to be. And I think it just always was like a childhood dream. I don't know that I want to go there anymore. I think the reality of the industry is that it's kind of moving. I don't think LA is the powerhouse it used to be. I think production is spreading a lot more globally now, that I don't think it really matters that much.
Are you
there specifically
of the opinion that that's a good thing? Or
I think it's great,
personally,
because it benefits more people and it's not such an like elite industry,
Yeah, it's less of a bubble now.
Yeah. Because even, it still happens. People will live, they'll work in LA, or actors or whatever, and they get cast out of LA for productions that are shooting like over here in Canada or whatever. So it still does have that hold. But I think it's definitely getting weaker as time goes on.
And obviously you've done different markets. You've done the market here in the UK and you've done the market in Canada. What do you think's the key difference between the two markets?
Canada really is Vancouver specifically is more of like a service market for the US because Canada has a weaker dollar than the US. So when productions move there, they have the incentive already because they're getting so much more for their money.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good tax credits over there, but it essentially is an American market. Canadian companies don't really have that much global standing, from my opinion. In media. In Toronto, you'll see a bit more Canadian stuff because there's a bit more like the soaps and stuff like that you'd be used to over here. A lot more of that stuff happens in Toronto. I don't know. I love the UK industry though. So I am always like, I just think the UK makes such insane work. Like, that's not your adolescence episode. But it's just like, just some stuff you can just tell is the UK, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's authentic, which I think sometimes is missed out in the US.
Do you still get tapes? Because your agents are over in US or Canada? Or?
Canada,
Cool.
yeah.
Do you still get tapes for the UK from there?
No, Vancouver, well, Canada as its own market is kind of its own thing. It doesn't really have the global reach that like maybe a London agent would. It's very much you will be seen for projects that would be shot mainly in Canada. There's a few commercial ones that shoot globally, but when productions are seeking talent in Canada, it's for stuff that's shot there, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
A
And
lot more of like a local thing.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. It's such an interesting move to
Yeah.
take that, because I've not really heard that from many people before.
Yeah.
And I think the projects obviously you've worked on over there. One of the questions I wanted to ask you was in terms of that performance capture and acting for screen. After doing Hogwarts Legacy, did you find that improved your acting? And if so, like how did your process change in a way?
Process.
Bit of process. I love.
that
I think it definitely improved my work. I think it kind of forced me to use specifically my imagination in ways that I've never had to do before. And working on something, like I say, where there is nothing there around you, it just really forces you into just living in whatever you can find that's in front of you. Like, you know, all you have is the other person that's also in another ridiculous looking suit. And if you're like holding something or you're taking something, or you're walking through a door, I don't know, whatever it is, there's so many cameras in the room that any big object will obstruct the cameras, so they can't have that. So if you're walking through a door or something, it will be like one wooden ply and then another one attached to it, just so that you know where the door is, but it's not a full thing. So does that make sense?
Do you have to pretend that the door is there, or
Yeah.
do you have a door on hinges?
No, you have to pretend pretty much everything's there.
And they might just give you some direction, like, this is a huge ancient wooden door
Yeah.
that hasn't
No,
been used since
absolutely.
ogres were around.
And sometimes
and it's rusty. And
sometimes they have a bit of a previs that they can show you what they've like rendered already, but sometimes it will just be a drawing. Like they were in completely different stages of each scene throughout the whole process. So some scenes were practically done and we were doing like the final touches for it, but some we were like the first thing for them. So some things you just like, well, I'm working from absolutely nothing here.
Yeah.
So you really have to be able to like use your imagination to really create this world around you, because there just isn't one there, you know? And I think that's really just helped in anything I do now, because I'm just naturally have done that. And then when you're actually acting with real people on an actual set, it's just a lot easier now.
Yeah.
I wonder, is it like this weird sort of hybrid between like the specificity that like screen needs mixed with the imagination of theatre?
Yes. That's kind of how I view it. Yeah. I looked a lot into like Stella Adler when I was doing it.
We love Stella Adler.
Do you?
Stella Adler's
Big
great.
Stella Adler boys. Because she was kind of the only person when I was looking through different techniques that I thought would help at the time that really was helpful. Like going back to theatre stuff, like you didn't really have anything there, but motion capture, you have even less. Like, there's absolutely nothing there. You don't even have a costume. You have to remember what it is your character's wearing. Like if you have a cloak, you're like, okay, where is my wand going? But there's no cloak there. You just have to like pass it off to someone, but you're putting it in your pocket.
So sick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
which technique specifically did you sort of cling to, do you think, of Stella Adler's? I'm not as familiar, I don't think, as you boys.
I think it's more, to me, what I boiled it down to in that was being really specific with your imagination. And what I mean by that is like, it's not enough for me to see what's in front of me. Like I need to be able to feel that effect on me.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know? Because if I don't feel it, no one else is gonna.
Yeah, it's like you need to. It's like acting is only responding. You need to be able to listen to something,
Yeah.
but how do you listen to something that's not even there in the first place? And it's just creating that. So do you like how much? like before you go for a shoot, like a scene, how many days of prep do they give you? Like, do they give you a few days? And
some days there's none. Some days you turn up and then they're like, "This is the scene."
You're fighting an ogre, or not fighting. You're doing a scene with an ogre.
But that was kind of part of the fun as well. Is it's just like you just turn up and then this is what's happening today. But I was kind of lucky that my character didn't speak that much. I was just kind of existing in the world. A lot of the action was happening around me, but I have so much respect for everyone else that was given scripts like the day before, on the day, and they were full on essays and they could not change the wording. Like they couldn't abbreviate words, nothing, because it had gone through so many steps of approval that they had to get it word perfect. Massive admiration to them, honestly.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So going from the imaginary world to the real world, it's really not real. But you know, you've worked for some massive machines like Netflix, HBO, Prime. I'm imagining that you haven't worked for Prime. Have you worked for Prime?
No.
No.
We'll feel.
But yeah, you've worked on, like as you mentioned, a Christmas Prince films, the full franchise. You've been a recurring character.
We were Netflix's first trilogy.
Were you?
Yeah.
Whoa,
that's a fun fact.
Wait, what was it?
We were Netflix's first trilogy.
That's going in the trailer.
Yeah.
There we go. And what was your character's name again?
Andy.
Andy, what's Andy's deal? Talk to us about Andy.
Andy's just, a little lovable, sassy guy, just getting on in his little world there. Starts off in, a fashion magazine. He's the typical best friend of the lead who's like always got the advice that you probably don't want to hear.
And always a little sarcastic comment as well to go along with it.
Want to ground you.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was the casting process for that like? Because obviously Netflix is this massive machine.
Yeah.
How many rounds was it?
It was one.
One round?
One, yeah. I think at the time,
That's not the answer that I was expecting.
Which casting director was it? Can you?
This was Carell McLeod. I honestly thank her for where my career is right now, because I don't know that I would be where I am without Christmas Prince. I had the option for this role. I could either have self-taped or I could have gone down in person. So I thought I was so right for this. I was like, I'm just going to go down to London, pay the £100 train.
I
was like, I'm just going to do it.
This last week, I've just done that and dropped like 120 quid on trains.
It's public infrastructure in this country is another issue.
It's not great.
Let's all move to Canada.
Vancouver, baby.
But I went down and met Carolyn just because I was like, I just feel like I am so right for this. I wanted to be in there. They actually hadn't decided at this point whether this character was going to be male or female. So I was like, I don't know, maybe. But I went down, and I think genuinely it was me turning up that day that got me it. Because I had such a lovely conversation with Carolyn. She helped me out because I did the thing where I was like, I need to get the cheapest train because I don't have money. So I got like the first one in the morning and then the last one at night. So then I had
really long 5 hours.
I had like 8 hours to fill down there. She helped me find a movie after. I went to go watch Fantastic Beasts, actually.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, right next to where Spotlight was.
Harry Potter franchise.
I know. It's so strange.
That early as well.
Yeah. And then I don't think Netflix expected it to be as big as it was. It was kind of a cultural moment, I want to say. I remember there was this tweet that Netflix put out, the first film, where it was like, whoever has been watching this film for 30 days straight or something, who hurt you?
Are you okay? This is a public service announcement. Please reach out to us.
And then, I think because of that, it kind of got this little cult following. Because we were kind of Netflix's first, cheesy Christmas film. Then now they pump out 5 a year.
Yeah, I love watching them.
Yeah, they're great. They're great.
Yeah, I watch all the Christmas films when they come out.
For me, it's the Snowman.
Was it 2017?
2017, yeah.
2017.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they were so quick with those renewals. I think Netflix knows, they're like, other than Stranger Things, they're like, we got to keep these people's eyes on this.
Keep them cogs turning.
Then it was one every year. So it's 2017, 18, and 19.
Any plans for a future one?
I don't think so.
No?
It's
Okay.
so sad. I wish, because there was a point where they were trying to create this whole cinematic universe. I don't know if you ever watched the Vanessa Hudgens ones.
I have,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we were supposed to, at one point, after their third one, do a Avengers style
Avengers
crossover.
style.
Yeah.
Multiverse of
Sick.
madness.
But I don't think someone wanted to, so then it just didn't end up happening.
Vanessa Hudgens, what are you playing at, man?
Aye.
Brilliant. Okay, well, we're going to have a quick little break and then we'll
Little
come
break.
back and we'll chat about Space Force.
Yeah,
We'll chat about films that made you and what's inspired you.
absolutely.
Yeah, so let's talk about the launch for Hogwarts Legacy. Because obviously there's all the controversy around the awful stuff that J.K. Rowling was saying.
Yeah.
I don't actually know if the launch was affected by it at all, because I think
well,
it
I
still
mean, there
sold
was-
amazing. And
Yeah. I mean, there was definitely a huge boycott movement behind it, which is completely understandable because
Yeah, definitely.
J.K. Rowling is trash.
Yes.
And
Nice. It's like-
Max is fist bumping behind the camera.
so it was a weird one to kind of promote.
yeah.
Because it kind of felt like something that I was proud of, but then I was also ashamed to have had the association of her. It was very weird moment in time, for sure. Yeah.
Because I imagine, I don't know when she first started making all those comments, but you guys were probably already like in the studio around that time.
Well, before I signed the NDA, when I confirmed on it, I didn't know what the job was.
Did you like turn up on the day?
Yeah,
and
I
you
had
turn up
no
to the
idea.
studio?
Yeah, until I'd already been confirmed on it before I even knew what it was. Wow. Yeah, it was like complete.
So it could have been for
secrecy.
anything.
It could have been absolutely anything. All I knew is it was a AAA game,
Yeah.
and that was it.
And what was your reaction as, you rocked up and they were like, so,
I mean,
sit down.
it was.
You're basically
it was
Harry
pretty
Potter.
Sick. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was very sick, and I was very excited to be a part of something that was all of our childhoods. Really,
yeah.
there's kind of no escaping Harry Potter, especially in the UK. You know,
Yeah.
I've said to these guys, I don't know. I think by the time, even after I was like at high school, I was still like, why is my letter from Dumbledore not arrived yet?
Yeah.
I fully believe.
Oh, you didn't get
You were the
Way too-
perfect generation as well, because we all know you're 35 years old.
yeah. Wow.
Going on 40.
I got mine. Yeah.
You got your Dumbledore letter?
Yeah, I did my time in Hogwarts. Yeah.
Did
You
you?
did your time, like
12 years of it in Azkaban. Sorry.
Yeah, well,
We also did a Harry Potter quoting game last
Okay,
year.
does everyone know what house they are?
Hufflepuff. I did the test.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I
Which
failed the
test? Like the BuzzFeed
Like,
test?
no, the
Or
one, like the main one on the.
Oh,
the
okay.
website,
What's it called? Pottermore?
Yeah, part
Yeah.
Oh,
What's your
yeah.
Patronus? That's what I want to know.
Oh, I don't remember what mine was.
What was your house, first of all? Let's focus on that, and then we'll move on.
Yeah.
My house was-
Important questions,
Yeah,
guys.
mine was Ravenclaw.
I'm Ravenclaw.
Nah,
Nice.
Boo.
Hufflepuff.
Yeah, I'm a Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
You're Hufflepuff.
Fucking knew it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I want to be Slytherin, but I'm a
little
Hufflepuff.
Yeah,
soft.
that's fair.
You're a softie.
badger.
Aren't you?
You are, yeah, no, I'm
You're
a
just
softie,
softy.
mate. I'm a softie.
Do you have a Patronus? then?
Play Slytherins, but I'm a Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, spoilers.
Yes, Ben is desperate
I
to know
wanna
what
know.
your Patronus is.
What's your Patronus?
He's been asking for about 5 minutes.
What's your wand? Tell me everything.
What's your Patronus?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember
Bro.
mine either.
I think mine was a golden retriever, which tracks.
Nice.
That-
I thought you were going to say a
That's a
goldfish.
good one.
I was like,
100% your
Goldfish,
energy.
yeah,
yeah,
nice.
definitely.
Looks like I need to go back on Pottermore, load up the old account.
Yeah, clearly.
I've still got the same password from like 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
Go on.
Let's chat about Space Force. I want to move on to Space
Yes,
Force.
of course.
I'm really interested to know about Space Force and like how was working with like John Malkovich, Steve Carell, all of them like legends of the
An
business.
unreal experience. Like, I literally only worked on that show for, I think it was 1 or 2 days maybe, but I was like, I will never forget this moment for my life because I had to improvise in front of Steve Carell.
No pressure.
That's
Truly. Like, it was a small role I had, but they added this extra scene towards the end of the episode where I had to keep taking pictures of all the main cast, and they just kept going on another take, and I kept having to like excite them up and psych them up, so I kept making like space related jokes to them all. And I was just like, I don't know how many more I have of these
Space
in
related
me.
jokes.
Yeah, well, it's because my character was like the time
Time
magazine photographer.
Oh, yeah.
So the whole purpose of my character was there to take photos of the Space Force crew.
So
Can we hear a space related joke?
Oh God!
Do you remember one that you used?
I don't know if I do remember one I used. Let's come back to that. I'll think about that one.
We'll let that percolate in the back of your brain.
Steve Carell's watching this, being like, "I remember them. They were great."
That was a terrible joke.
Hype me up. That's crazy. I mean, Steve Carell, you know, some of the people you've worked with on that show, did you get any advice from them? Did you learn anything that you've taken with you?
I mean, John Malkovich really gave me a lot of sound words about just kind of being persistent in the industry and just kind of, you know, there are so many twists and turns, ups and downs that can happen in this industry. And, you know, I think to hear just like keep at it from such veterans, like sat next to you in the makeup chair, you're just like, this is so true. Like, I'm sat right next to you, John. Cheers, lad. We talked about Leeds because he's been to Leeds before, and I was like,
why has he been to Leeds? Why is Joel?
I don't
John
know.
Malkovich
Some theatre thing at some point.
Oh, right, okay. I can't place John Malkovich in Leeds.
No, I can't imagine it.
Yeah. It's when I hear people talk about Manchester and I'm like, they've been to Manchester?
Yeah.
And then I forget Manchester's actually a really big place.
Yeah.
Did you get to meet any like the showrunners, like Greg Daniels and that?
I don't think I did meet Greg Daniels. Just the director himself, Ken Quappers, like, what an icon. Like, I think he's directing like the Malcolm in the Middle reboot at the minute. And I'm just like, any chance I get to work with that man, I will.
They're doing a reboot of Malcolm in the Middle?
Yeah, they're filming it in Vancouver at this very moment. Yeah.
That theme song pops in my head like all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
What's
you know,
the
when
theme
I'm just,
song?
I don't know, wanting to feel a bit more badass. I'm
Go
like,
on,
you're
Matt.
not the
Yeah,
boss of
what is
me
the theme
now.
song?
What's the theme song, Matt?
I don't
You're
remember
not the
it.
boss of me now, and you're
yeah.
not so big, tough.
I don't know.
Life
He's
is
not in
on-
the show, Matt. He's not in the show.
I wish I was.
Hey, if
That was
you're
my
watching,
audition for the reboot.
Ken?
Send us to Vancouver, please.
Huh?
Send us to Vancouver. Get us there.
It needs to happen.
Yeah.
I wonder as well, how do sort of Netflix sets differ from sets like The Irrational? You've also featured in that.
Yes.
A little bit.
I think it differs. So Netflix has different rankings for their shows and films. So like they all sit in their own budget category. So some things you will get a much more intense set than others, depending on what their budget is. So it's not like one rule for all on Netflix.
Interesting.
That's so bizarre.
What are the budget bands? Do you know? Or
I
is
don't.
This,
I think it differs because it between like TV shows and films, because they have all their films, like their Christmas films and stuff. They're always in the cheaper ones, because they're just so easy to make.
Would you say that the higher bands or the bigger budgets would have more, more producers, more people, like more executives? Like
you can generally tell whether it's one that's got a lot of money based on whether it has a code name or whether it just says what the title is. But yeah, the Space Force one, I could tell like, oh, this has a lot of
money behind
a lot
it.
of people. A lot of people care about this show right here.
Yeah, I've got the bands up. Band 1 is up to 1.25 million pounds. Band 2 is up to 3 million pounds. Band 3 is up to 8 million pounds, and Band 4 is 8 million plus.
Yeah,
that's so much money.
That's crazy.
Insane.
Yeah. And you wouldn't really think that, would you? With Netflix, you'd just be like, oh, they're all the same.
They pump money in.
Same.
That's it. Like they just.
And some of them, Red One was that? No, what was the Netflix film they did recently? It was a Christmas one, and I was going to watch it.
That's a Prime.
Red One?
That's a Prime film.
There's one they did on Netflix recently. Well, at Christmas, believe it or
I don't
not.
fucking know, Ben. Sorry.
You watched the Christmas. You watched the Christmas film.
And we've
Christmas
already
extraordinaire over here.
about 15 a year. Like,
I
how
shot
much?
my 5 months. I can't remember last week.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Matt, I have a question for you.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, all right.
You caught me in a moment. I was looking at my script. No.
This is a
should have
complete
improvised.
curveball. I'm so sorry, Olive.
I love curveballs. Genuinely do. It gets me.
Do you naturally know BSL? Or did you
a curveball.
Yeah.
No, so I learned. The audition came through for Waterloo. No. Here's the thing. So with the breakdown for Waterloo, there was also Billy Savage on there.
Yeah. It was on the same breakdown.
Which is obviously who Ollie played in the end. There was Billy, there was Jared, and there was Luca. I don't know if it was named as Luca at the time. And it just said, it said initially it has to be fluent in BSL. And I was like, well, I am not. I am hard of hearing. I'm not profoundly deaf. Said that to my agent and he was like, cool, okay, we'll go for Billy. Which is a push. I mean, I shave, I look 12, but it's still a push. I had to be shaved like 3 times a day for Waterloo.
I got shaved twice a day.
But then I spoke to my agent. I was like, do you mind if I drop the CD and email just to be like, I do think I'd be keen on like auditioning for Jared as well. I'm happy to, I already know some BSL. I'm happy to really just work hard on learning as much as I can whilst, doing it right, being authentic with it as well. So I kind of have this thing, and it seems to be working sometimes, where it's like, when you have an audition, if you have the time, approach it as if you've already got the job. Not in terms of like, I'm a fucking G, I'm going to get this job.
Yeah.
I got it. Like, it's not in terms of like having the confidence and the ego about it. It's more like, what would I already be doing? Well, I would be learning BSL, or I'd already be breaking down the script and breaking down the character. Yeah. So I just did that, and it was like 4 months-ish, and they mainly just wanted to see that I was improving on my signing abilities.
Because I think signing is so beautiful. Like, I've been learning ASL for a while.
Sorry, I was like, why have you asked this question? And then I just remembered you're taking ASL lessons, aren't you?
I am, because I just think, I don't know, I've always found signing so wonderful. And I was learning BSL when I used to live here, and then when I moved over there, I swapped to ASL, which you wouldn't think there would be different ones between British, like Britain and America. You would think they'd have the same, but no.
They're very different, aren't they? Like,
yeah,
it is an entirely.
There is
different
some
language.
like when I was watching some of your signing, I was like, I understand some words, or signs. But then some are completely different, and it's so fascinating to me.
Am I right in thinking ASL is mainly like one hand as well? Or is it both?
It's both, yeah.
My hearing aid just went off. Oh. It hurt. It was like, you're talking about being deaf? Interesting.
I think there is something about one is one-handed and one is both, but like you have a dominant hand in ASL, and then it will always be like you use that dominant hand and then your secondary hand to help.
Okay, so the similarities, because Ollie's also... Yeah, we're at pretty much the same point, actually, in terms of our BSL stuff. Our main stuff at the moment is we more speak in terms of SSE, or sign in terms of SSE, which is Sign-Supported English, which is, we know like a decent amount of vocab, but it's more changing to the grammatical structure of it.
Yeah.
We're going like nerdy here, but I don't know if ASL has the same sort of shift.
It does. So ASL actually has its origins in France. So ASL has a similar sentence structure to the French language. So if you're familiar with French, you will quickly pick up the sentence structure of ASL.
I can't say that I am familiar with French. Yeah. What's the French like structure? What's the ASL structure?
I don't know that I'm the best person to explain it, but it'd be like you're starting, like if you are referring to someone, you might start with like Ollie, verb thing. If that makes sense.
Like noun comment, what is it? Topic comment structure?
Well,
for BSL?
With BSL, it's got like 3 different ones. You can go topic, or you can go
similar vibe. You can do it any way around. Yeah,
I find it interesting how like different the way migrations worked as well. So like Australians got very similar sign language to BSL, and then the French, obviously, I guess that migration has influenced the ASL. We need to get Ben on it at some point.
I was going to say, I don't even know the English language structure. Never mind.
Why did you start learning? Just out of interest.
I don't know, honestly. It's something that I've always thought was very interesting. And I thought it was something that I could do. Like when I watch interpreters and stuff on the news and stuff, it is something that I would be very interested in doing.
Yeah.
Because it is something that like I find as an actor, it's like, it is something where you have to be very expressive. Because a lot of part of signing is the expression you use, and like forget what it's called now. Non-manual factors, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
What was that last bit?
Non-manual factors, I think it's called. I feel like I'm messing that up.
Hold on, I've got it.
Yeah.
I
Non-manual
do have it
features?
somewhere. It might be features.
Oh no, our
There we go.
BSL teacher's going to be watching this. And being
I
like,
was just gonna say
Non-manual features.
Non-manual
Oh,
features.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, like, obviously, like for myself, like I speak English, I speak a bit of Spanish, just because I thought it would be good to be bilingual.
bit of
and,
Espanol.
a bit of Spanish. And my
Sí.
family was partially Spain, so I was like, well, if I'm gonna pick a language, I'm gonna pick one that my family are from.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So learning that's been interesting, but how do you learn a language that isn't spoken or spoken verbally? Is it different or is it the same?
I don't know, just repetition, I guess.
I would say so. Yeah, it's a lot more difficult because you can't. It requires a lot more focus. I think like you can't really, just watch a show in the same way that like you could watch a Spanish show and then like pick it up as you go, and because there's just not the representation.
Although there are some, particularly for BSL, I don't know the resources that are available in American Sign Language, but in the UK there is a program or a production company called Lumo, and they have Lumo TV and they are doing deaf-led dramas, comedies.
I love that.
Every single character is deaf, and they're really championing deaf talent, and like it's all in BSL.
That's really good.
With
Wow.
no interpreters on screen because everything is done in camera.
There's also a really cool TV show that I've not started watching yet, but I want to, called The Reunion. I think.
Yes.
What's
I've
the
heard
name?
about that.
Rose.
Rose Aisling Ellis.
That's it.
Yeah.
Where there's a lot of deaf characters, a lot of signing going on. The lead character uses sign. Looks
He
really
is a
cool
deaf
in
man.
terms of that representation to be able to. Again, it is, you do kind of pick things up, and I guess also people will always, everyone processes input stimulus differently anyway. So I don't my auditory processing is slightly slow. It takes me an extra second to like piece out, put together the fragments. I lip read. I definitely pick up body language.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've just naturally, organically started picking up body
I've
language.
always
easy.
struggled to learn spoken languages, but then sign language, I seem to pick it up really
Some of it
quickly.
just makes sense. Some of
Yeah.
it. Like you just kind of clicks in your brain. You're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That would be the sign for that.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's B, isn't it? So I know B-E-N, Ben. Is that
Single
right?
finger on the E.
Single-
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. All I remember from BSL is that those are the vowels, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas it's not, it'd be like A, E, I, O,
Oh my
U,
god.
Y.
We used to get you talking to our mate Danny. He's fluent in both BSL and ASL.
Really?
And he's also actually plays Luca on Waterloo. He's fluent
that's so
in both BSL
interesting.
and ASL. And he's
Didn't he teach
phenomenal.
himself ASL for the American film he did?
Yes.
Which was
4.
with Aaron Paul as well. Back when he was like a
Wow.
kid. Like he was like 13.
Yeah.
We're getting so off piece here, but
No,
it's
it's all
really
cool.
cool.
What film
Oh,
was it?
what was it called?
The Parts You Lose.
Wow.
Still need to
season.
see it. To be
I've
fair.
watched it. It's pretty good. It is
it?
actually genuinely really good. Would recommend. Go and watch. Go and watch.
I feel like there's definitely a shift forward in terms of the representation going on in the
Yeah.
industry. Like Danny's just made a short film that Ollie's in, where some of the crew sign, some are hearing, some of the
almost
hard
all
hearing.
of the crew. It was a deaf-led production.
Amazing.
It was like hearing people were in. By God, we were in the minority on that set.
Yeah.
And some people didn't sign at all. So we had a couple of interpreters on there as well to sort of help, but the majority of people working on that were deaf, which was really, really fun. It's the quietest set I've ever been on, which was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody shouted. It was
Just
lovely.
like, please can everyone be quiet? It is great just taking these out sometimes.
Yeah.
It's been
I was gonna say that's yeah.
just to bring it back to you, just before we wrap up, I actually don't know what time we're on, but I watched one of the shorts that you did, the Living with Him.
Oh, did you?
I
Oh my
did.
gosh.
It's on YouTube. I don't know if you knew that it's on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Was that made during COVID times?
Yeah.
Is that right?
That was, so I just had moved there a couple months prior, and I genuinely had nothing going on. Like I didn't know anyone there, and I was just like, yeah, this is kind of just the best time for me to just try and create. And the only thing I knew how to create was just something about myself. So I like kind of tried to make a bit of an abstract view of my discovery of like my bisexuality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What was the so many questions to ask within that. So when you arrived in Vancouver, did you say it was like, I don't know, a couple months and things weren't really working out?
Like
how long?
I moved there and 6 weeks later, COVID happened and everything kind of shut down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how long was it until, Hogwarts and things started shifting back?
Maybe like 3 months after that.
Okay.
So there was like...
You didn't know what was on the horizon?
Yeah, very much did not. Yeah.
Interesting. Because there was other sort of like old like YouTube videos and stuff that you made. Have you always been quite creative in making your own content?
I have tried many times to just like put stuff out there because, when you're not working, I just feel like the best thing to do is just kind of make your own stuff. So I kind of went through every medium. I started on YouTube like when I was like 15. I made Facebook videos when they were a thing. I then made a TikTok when I moved.
You've got a lot of funny, really like viral TikTok clips as well.
Yeah.
What was it? Oh man, I'm trying to even remember the one. Oh no, it's gone. I watched them. I think last week. When we were prepping for this.
I just find, I don't know, I don't really have another outlet. I hate writing, so I just have to do.
You hate what? Sorry.
I hate writing.
Writing.
So as soon as I have an idea, I have to just like make it, or it goes.
And making ideas, or not making ideas, having ideas and making them into stuff is important. I think at the moment in the industry, it feels like you can't just be an actor. You've got to be that branch of creatives, whether that's acting and writing, directing and acting, producing and acting, or doing all of it, which, if you can, kudos, because I definitely can't do all of it. It's an interesting time in the industry.
Yeah.
Seeing where it goes will be very, very interesting. I'm really intrigued to see where it goes. But if we take it all the way back to when this seed planted in your brain of becoming an actor, was there a film that triggered that? There was.
Yeah.
Oh, tell me.
That first question that we usually ask? I was like, we've missed the question.
Yeah, we normally start the pod with this.
We just went straight into it.
It was me just going, Hogwarts!
I know, yeah. Full circle moment.
It was High School Musical.
Wow, really?
No way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was absolutely High School Musical.
Troy Bolton? Who was it?
No,
Really?
I was obsessed with Sharpay as a kid. I
Sharpay,
loved Sharpay. Okay. The first, I don't know what it was about that movie that made me want to start doing it. Before that, I think I wanted to be a singer before I wanted to be an actor. So I think that was kind of like where I was like, I could meld these together, do a bit of musical theater. So I did my first summer school, show in a week type thing, where I played Ryan.
There is a video.
Stop.
No
Is
way.
there really?
We'll throw it in for the video.
Oh wait, there is. Yes.
viewers.
Oh god.
Are you happy for the
you're-
video?
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
It's on his Instagram.
I think that's
You
from
can
the
find
second.
it.
How far back in the Instagram did you go?
Oh, I'm far. This was you posted it on
Some solid research.
You posted it in 2023.
No way.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
You also visited the real East High as well.
I
which
did.
is in
I
Salt
did.
Lake
Wait, it's a
City.
real high school?
It is, yeah.
No way.
In
I thought
Utah.
it was a film set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Just gotta get in the game.
That's
You
so
also
sick.
thought you were going to marry Ashley Tisdale.
I did. I
and-
once wrote her a letter when I was like 13.
Did you?
I don't know where I found any address to send it to. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe I just put Ashley Tisdale.
To
put it in
Disney
the
Channel.
passbox.
America.
Yeah.
Some random
That's
guys just
never
opened
good.
his door and there's a letter there. But
Yeah.
who's Ashley?
But I've never been afraid of reaching out to people. I used to reach out to actors that I admired all the time. There was an actress in, I don't know if any of you would have watched the Sarah Jane Adventures.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So I
Love that
wrote
show.
to Elizabeth Sladen
Uh-huh.
multiple times, and she would always write back to me.
Oh, no.
Oh,
That's so
lovely.
sweet.
Yeah, saying that she appreciated my words and like to keep on at it in the industry and stuff. And I just, I think a lot of people get into this industry because they admire people. So take the chance. You never know. Never know. You might hear back.
Is that your final sort of message to everybody watching? In terms of
gosh.
what would you say to them if they're looking to sort of enter the industry, if they're looking to find their pathway in the world? What would you say?
I would say absolutely go for it. I mean, there's so many possible outcomes from trying in this industry. For me, for example, I moved to a completely different country.
Yeah.
Off the back of the industry. Whether I stay there or not, that was just because I was just trying the industry, and it changed, my life, not necessarily through a role, but it can alter your life, really. Yeah.
Amazing. Brilliant.
That's a
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
for
thank you,
having me.
dude.
Yeah.
It's been a really interesting chat.
It's been fascinating. I geeked out so much.
Yeah, I've learned so much.
That inner child's just coming back out.
Yeah, definitely.
brilliant.
Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed the episode, like, comment, subscribe,
Give
and
us
we'll
a
see
follow
you.
on Spotify.
And follow on Spotify.
Please
Don't
do.
forget that.
And we'll see you next week.
That's
Peace.
right.
That's a wrap.